Hello everyone, today we are going to learn about beams. Beams are structural members which are connected with columns and can bear loads and transfer that load to columns. Columns are generally called in mechanics as supports. So beams are structural members which are supported with supports and transfer the load from structure to supports. Let me show you an example of support and beams. These are the supports. We generally call this as a column, and in mechanics we call it as supports. And this is the beam which is associated with columns or connected with columns or supports. There are many classifications of beams, but there are generally two classifications which are used in engineering as beams. First classification is based on materials, second classification is based on support. These two classifications are most important in civil engineering. So first classification of beams based on material. Four main types of beam based on material. First beam is concrete beam. You can see everywhere concrete beam. Let me show you concrete beam. This you can see, this is the support and this is the concrete beam. This. Next is steel beam. Steel beam are used in steel structure which are very costly. I can show you the steel structure. These are the steel structure. This beam is which is horizontal is beam and this vertical member is column. Okay. Next is composite beam. Composite beams are beams which are made with more than two elements or more than two metals or more than two type of things. Like alloys are used in many beams to make the beams lightweight sometimes. Next is timber beam. Timber or wood beam. Timber and wood beams are very less used in India. Classification of beam based on supports. This is the most important part of mechanics of civil engineering. First type of beam is simply supported beam, where a beam is simply supported on two supports. Second type of beam is cantilever beam, where the beam is fixed at one end and free at other end. Third beam is fixed beam, where beam is fixed at both the ends. Overhanging beam, where the beam is overhang at two sides of the supports. Continuous beam, where there are more than two supports. This beam is called continuous beam. Sixth beam is propped cantilever beam. Propped cantilever beam can be explained as when the cantilever beam is at the free end supported with and simply support, that beam is called propped cantilever. Let me show you the 3D views of these beams. First beam is simply supported beam, where these are the two supports and this beam is simply supported on these two supports. You can see this beam and is simply supported on these two supports. The next beam is cantilever beam. This is the cantilever beam which is fixed at this end and free at this other end. Next beam is fixed beam. You can see this beam. This is a fixed beam with both ends are fixed of this beam. Next beam is overhanging beam. You can see this is the support 1, support 2, this beam, but this beam is overhang at both the ends. Next beam is continuous beam. See, this is you can consider this as simply supported beam, but there are one more support is there, and thus this beam is continuous beam. Continuous beam is called continuous because it is continuous after two supports also, because see this one support, two support, and this is the third support. You can generally see this all beams are only supported on two supports, but this beam can be supported on more than two supports like 3, 4, 5, 6, any of them. Next beam is propped cantilever beam. This is a special type of cantilever beam where one end is fixed but other end is not leave free but supported by a simply support. These are the 3D views of beams based on support. These are the 2D models of this beam, where simply supported beam is supported on two supports, continuous beam is supported on more than two supports, where cantilever beam is fixed at one end and other end is free, and fixed beam is fixed on both the ends. Overhanging beam is overhanging after the supports also. Propped cantilever beam is a special type of beam where the last and free end is not freely lifted but and simple support is applied on the free end. This was all about introduction of beams.